At the beginning of the film, we're shown a serious-looking man who resembles a member of the Italian mafia. He enters a building and takes the elevator up in one of Chicago's business centers. Walking into an office, he startles a woman just by being there. The man tells her to relax.
Relax. If your name had come up, you'd be dead already.
Then he hands her a bullet to analyze and identify its manufacturer. This bullet was used to kill his colleague. She says the bullet can't be traced. The shooter was very clever. At that moment, a laser sight's dot appears on her forehead.
Get down!
The woman is shot from the neighboring building across the way. The man manages to count 4 shooters on the roof and quickly runs out of the office, since they've opened fire on him too. He runs down the corridor and, at the end of it, calls the elevator, not to leave, but to give himself a longer runway. When he crouches down, his heart begins to pound at incredible speed, which lets him focus on the building across the street. Pushing off the elevator, the man builds up incredible speed. He crashes through the glass head first and flies at enormous speed toward the neighboring building. His reflexes are faster than the shooters, and mid-flight he manages to take out 3 of them, killing the 3rd with a bullet sent along a curved trajectory. He doesn't quite reach the roof, flying in 1 floor below instead. But within 5 seconds, he still eliminates the last shooter, whose cell phone starts ringing in his pocket. The man picks up and says, "There's no way out of their brotherhood." He notes that you shouldn't send sheep to kill a wolf, and gets the reply that they were merely bait. After that, an elegant vintage bullet pierces his skull. In reverse, we're shown the full complexity of the shot that was made. It turns out the bullet has a multi-stage construction, like a rocket, and the shot was fired from several kilometers away by a man named Cross. 2 weeks after these events, Wesley wakes up to the shrieking of his girlfriend, who's nagging him to hurry up and find them a new place to live. She's tired of sleeping right beneath windows that face a metro station. The young man works as an ordinary office clerk and suffers from panic attacks, which he successfully suppresses with medication. But it has a side effect: total apathy toward everything. He doesn't care about anything, not even the fact that his girlfriend is constantly cheating on him with his own friend Barry.
Barry!
And at work, his boss is always riding him for being slow. Wesley himself is haunted by the past. He keeps wondering why his father abandoned the family shortly after he was born. Once again, when his boss starts screaming at him over a report, Wesley has a panic attack so severe that his heart feels like it's about to leap out of his chest, and the whole world seems to slow down in that instant.
Sorry.
As soon as his boss leaves, Wesley immediately tosses back a handful of pills. That evening after work, trying to withdraw a little cash, he discovers his balance is practically at 0. So he heads to the supermarket for another supply of his medication, where he notices a strange man following him. It's that same Cross, the shooter who killed the man on the roof. Turning around, Wesley sees a beautiful woman staring at him. He's uneasy about her pushy way of talking, but she suddenly declares that she knew his father. At first, he's skeptical. She goes on, saying his father was killed a few days ago, and the killer is standing right behind Wesley. She whips out a Colt and starts evening the odds, opening fire on Cross. A shootout breaks out in the store, and amid all this, Wesley has a panic attack. He tries to make a run for it, but the stranger holds him back. Then, attaching an adapter to her pistol, she starts shooting out the mirrors to cut off Cross's line of sight. In that moment, Wesley seizes the chance and bolts outside. Cross tries to chase the young man in a van, but the stranger in a red Ferrari smoothly scoops him into her car, and the chase continues. She hangs out over the windshield, firing at the van. The car is steered in turns by Wesley and by her right foot. Meanwhile, the young man is enjoying the view that's opened up before him.
I'm sorry!
A police unit blocks our hero's path, sealing off the street. Quickly sizing up the situation, the woman jumps behind the wheel, throws the Ferrari into a drift, the wheels catch a drainage ditch, and the car does a side flip, landing on top of a bus. In the half-wrecked car, they continue their ride through the night city. All these maneuvers cause Wesley to pass out. He comes to in some kind of textile factory. He tries to leave the room, but all the exits are blocked by unfamiliar people. A couple of minutes later, the woman from the store appears, and Wesley desperately tries to convince everyone that he's just an office drone with nothing valuable to offer. A man appears with an elegant pistol in his hand. He holds out the weapon and tells Wesley to hit a fly circling above a trash can. Wesley is shocked by the request, so the man makes it harder and tells him to hit the fly in the wing. In that instant, our hero feels a pistol pressed to the back of his head. The big man behind him says that if Wesley doesn't shoot, he will. The panic attack revs Wesley's body up to the point where the fly seems to move in slow motion. He fires 6 bullets without even aiming. Wesley immediately rushes to take his medication, but the man stops him, showing him the flies with their wings shot off. He throws the medication away and says Wesley doesn't need it. His heart had been beating at 400 beats per minute. His pituitary gland flooded his bloodstream with an enormous amount of hormones, boosting his reflexes several times over. This isn't a panic attack. It's an ability he inherited from his father. Wesley thinks the man is insane and, brandishing the pistol, tells him not to come closer. The man introduces himself as Sloan, and the woman from the store is named Fox. Sloan says the crazy one here is actually Wesley, that with potential like his, he grovels at work every day instead of unleashing his power.
This gun you're holding belonged to your father. He could conduct a symphony orchestra with it.
He offers Wesley the chance to avenge his father's death and kill Cross. They also tell him they've transferred all his savings into his account, and then let the poor guy go. The next morning, Wesley wakes up thinking everything that happened was just a dream, but in the bathroom, the pistol that falls out of his pocket snaps him back to reality. He hides the gun in the toilet tank and immediately heads to the nearest ATM, where he finds more than $3.5 million in his account. At work, Wesley feels wonderful. For the first time, he's in a good mood on the job. There, at his computer, he's reading articles about his father's murder on the high-rise roof, when suddenly his boss appears and immediately starts yelling at him.
What is this bullshit? Who's this prick?
His boss threatens to destroy his career with her performance reviews, and Wesley politely pushes back. Then he lays out exactly what he thinks of her, how the whole department laughs behind her back, and how many donuts she keeps stashed in her desk. She's a bit stunned, as is everyone in the office. After that, he grabs his keyboard and walks out. Barry calls him a real man and goes for a high five, but gets the keyboard in the face for the cheating. In high spirits, he walks out of the building and sees newspapers with a story about his adventure at the store the day before, splashed across the front pages. At that moment, Fox pulls up for him, and he happily jumps into her car. She drives him to the textile factory. At first, Wesley thinks the operation exists only as a front, but as it turns out, they're genuine masters of the craft and run the weaving business with a deep understanding of it. Their brotherhood is called the Fraternity of Weavers. Going up to the factory cafeteria, Wesley realizes they really are weavers. He says he doesn't want to go back to his old life, and Sloan puts Fox in charge of his training. The young man's preparation begins. He's tied to a chair and beaten while being asked why he came here. He doesn't understand what they want from him, and only says that it's certainly not to get punched in the face. Then the battered young man is brought to the butcher, who tries to teach him knife fighting. It should be said that they don't spare Wesley one bit and inflict serious injuries on him. Afterward, he comes to in a paraffin bath, special restorative baths for recovery. To ease his suffering, the man in charge of this part gives Wesley vodka, and he immediately realizes the man is Russian.
Is it vodka?
Yeah.
Are you Russian?
Yeah.
He's already in bed when Fox wakes him. His firearms training also goes in an unconventional way. He has to learn to shoot along a non-straight trajectory. Together with Fox, he jumps onto moving trains. This thrilling routine repeats day after day. He's beaten half to death, then patched up. One day, another dead member of the Brotherhood is brought in. It's Cross's work. He's picking them off one by one. According to Sloan, only Wesley is capable of stopping him. Meanwhile, Fox tells Wesley to catch a shuttle that moves at tremendous speed inside a loom. He asks her to press a pistol to his head to trigger his acceleration. But according to Fox, he has to learn to control himself on his own. He can't do it and only wounds his hand.
This is bullshit! Fuck this!
During his recovery treatments, the man shows him a trick with a rat. He attaches a miniature explosive device to the rodent and lures it to a safe spot using peanut butter. The man says Wesley's father loved this trick. Wesley asks whether he's all right and wonders how they brainwashed him, since he really is behaving strangely. Meanwhile, Fox rises up out of the neighboring bath. She tells him to head to training. This time, she personally starts beating him half to death and asking the same question over and over, what he's here for and why he's wasting her time. Wesley finally gives the one right answer. He wants to find out who he really is. He's brought to Sloan, who tells him about his father. He was the best of them. He shows him his belongings and his room. Wesley puts on his father's jacket and becomes gripped by the idea of proving himself worthy of his father no matter what. His training now has meaning. He has a goal in front of him, to avenge his father's death against Cross. All the hardships seem trivial to him. He endures any abuse without a problem. He absorbs tons of information about his opponent. Day and night, he trains with the fanaticism of a Shaolin monk. He takes down the knife-fighting master. The guy who used to beat him breaks every bone against Wesley's head. After which, Wesley beats him. The only thing he can't manage is the curved shot. Fox works up the courage to help him with it and stands in front of a carcass to motivate him. Feeling an enormous sense of responsibility, he finally curves the bullet along an arc. Curving around her face, it lands right on target. The time has come for his first assignment. Sloan brings him to a loom. It turns out they learn the names of their targets from the fabric that the loom of fate produces. Their Brotherhood's ancestors decoded a secret cipher that lets them translate the irregularities in the threads into binary code, which then forms into names. Wesley receives the name of his first target. Fox accompanies him on this assignment, moving along the roof of a train. They close in on the target, but Wesley can't bring himself to shoot. He closed his eyes and remembered his conversation with Fox from the day before. Fox had told him a story about a little girl whose father was a judge, principled and incorruptible. One day he was hearing the case of an influential criminal. The defendants wanted a different judge, so they sent a brutal killer named Max Petridge to his home. He burned his victims alive and forced their relatives to watch, and then carved his own initials into their bodies so they'd never forget the nightmare. When Fox joined the Brotherhood, she learned that the loom had produced Max Petridge's name several days before the attack on the judge, and one of the brothers hadn't been able to pull the trigger. That's why the brothers' motto is kill one and maybe save 1,000. After that, Fox leaves, and Wesley sees Max Petridge's initials on her neck. The young man opens his eyes and finally resolves to kill the businessman, sending the bullet along an arc. He gets one assignment after another, hoping each time that Cross's name will come up. There was one target he couldn't take out on his own, while the man was moving in an armored limousine. So, Fox helped him, positioning her sports car as a ramp beneath Wesley's car. Doing a flip over the limousine, he managed to shoot the target through the open sunroof. After the assignment, they head to Wesley's home for the pistol hidden in the bathroom. His friend Barry is already living in his apartment with his girlfriend. Wesley doesn't hesitate long. He knocks out his buddy and strides boldly toward the bathroom while the girlfriend hurls every unflattering word at him. Fox gets fed up with the shrieking and decides to raise the young man's status in his ex's eyes. The ex is stunned and the couple leaves.
He's the man.
When they get outside, Fox goes off to steal a car, and Wesley spots Cross. He opens fire on him, but Cross successfully deflects the shot with a bullet of his own. A chase after Cross begins. Other members of the Brotherhood join in. At an abandoned construction site, Wesley accidentally shoots Constantine. While he's in shock over his mistake, Cross fires a curved bullet from around a corner, which hits the young man in the shoulder. Wesley comes to in the recovery room. He sees them trying to revive the Russian brother, but it's all in vain, and Constantine dies. By a stroke of luck, the bullet extracted from his shoulder is the first one that can be traced. It was made by a man named Pikwarski. He works at a monastery in eastern Moravia. The Brotherhood realizes this is a deliberately set trap and doesn't want to let him go alone, but the young man convinces them that he's prepared enough and that he has to atone for killing one of the Brotherhood's members. Sloan finally gives him the cloth with Cross's name on it. Once the young man has left, he hands Fox her cloth, with Wesley's name on it. He orders her to kill him after he deals with Cross.
Your next assignment.
I don't think that's a good idea.
The young man arrives at the monastery and finds Pekwarski. The man takes off running, but he manages to lure Wesley into a trap and level a gun at him. But at that moment, luckily, Fox arrives. She'd been tailing Wesley. He shows the bullet and asks where its owner is. Pekwarski promises to arrange a meeting with him. Then he brings them to a train station. Pekwarski waits for Cross. Fox and Wesley lie in wait. Suddenly, Pekwarski starts to run. The pair takes off after him. Out of the corner of his eye, Wesley spots Cross in a train car. He jumps onto the train while Fox chases Pekwarski. The train pulls away, and Fox realizes Wesley is now alone with Cross. She steals a souped-up car from an elderly couple. Meanwhile, Pekwarski reports to Cross over the phone that Wesley is alone on the train. Cross grabs the young man and wants to tell him something, but Fox, in a Lada, has caught up to the high-speed train and opens fire on Cross. A shootout breaks out on the train, during which Cross merely deflects the bullets. The car flies into the train, sending the whole thing off the rails to dangle from a bridge. Wesley nearly plunges into the abyss, but Cross manages to grab him. Sacrificing his own life, the young man shoots his opponent, and the entire car breaks off and drops, lodging in the ravine. Wesley levels his pistol at the wounded Cross.
Everything they told you was a lie. You're my son.
He asks Fox whether it's true, and she confirms his words. Wesley was the only one Cross couldn't kill, and the other brothers simply couldn't get close to him. The young man learns that his name was produced by the cloth too, and he manages to escape Fox by shooting out the glass. Together with his father's body, he falls into the river. He comes to in a recovery bath in the house across from his old apartment. He hears his girlfriend telling a friend on the phone how she regrets letting such a cool guy get away. Pekwarski tells him how his father was always nearby, watching over his life. With all his heart, he hadn't wanted his son to follow his path and had blocked his meeting with the Fraternity of Weavers. Pekwarski gives him a scrap of fabric with Sloane's name on it. It turns out the cloth had produced his name, and Sloane had concealed it. Cross had found out that Sloane had started interpreting the cloth for his own selfish ends and had left the Brotherhood, vowing to destroy it. In a closet, Wesley finds a hidden passage. In the secret room, there's a pile of rat explosives and a detailed plan of the Brotherhood's building. Wesley heads to the supermarket for tons of peanut butter. He uses it to lure rats into a garbage truck.
I say kill them all and let fate sort out the mess.
He crashes into the factory in the garbage truck, and Sloane orders everyone to kill him, and they all open fire. Wesley releases the loaded rats, which scatter throughout the factory, squeezing into even the most hidden spots. At one moment, all the rats explode. After that, he storms into the building, gunning down everyone without exception. He handles his weapons gracefully as if conducting an orchestra. At the worst possible moment, a fight breaks out with the Butcher, who surprisingly turns out to be a difficult opponent. But Wesley drives a spike into his chest, after which he finally reaches Sloane. He's surrounded by the remaining fighters, Fox among them. The young man reveals the whole truth, that Sloane got scared of the cloth's choice and decided to eliminate the only witness, Cross. The fighters demand an explanation from their leader, and he pulls from a folder the names of those the cloth had produced. Among them is not only himself, but every member of the Brotherhood. He says they can keep blindly following the cloth, in which case each of them should put a bullet in his own head. Or they can forget all of it, kill Wesley, and rule the world using their skills. Then he leaves, giving the brothers time to think. All the fighters decide to follow Sloane and kill the young man. All except the principled Fox, who sends a bullet around in a circle, taking out everyone, herself included. Wesley gives chase after Sloane, but the man has vanished without a trace. Lost and worn out, he walks up to an ATM and discovers that all the money in his account is gone. A few days later, at the office, everything is going along as usual for Wesley, as if nothing had ever happened. Sloane creeps up on him with a .712 Gletcher. The young man turns around, and it turns out it isn't Wesley at all, just a decoy. Sloane looks down and sees a cross laid out from sticky notes.
Oh, fuck.
In reverse, we're shown the entire path the bullet traveled, flying through his boss's donut, punching through his friend Barry's energy drink. The bullet was fired from his father's house by Wesley himself.
What the fuck have you done lately?